Coach Martin talked about this as well. Obviously, 1-6. The easiest thing about this league, in my opinion, is always to get these guys motivated because obviously, this is either A, the only opportunity they have, or B, they're continuing to strive for the NFL. Does that translate on the defensive side of the ball as well, as far as seeing a lot of these guys like no quit because every rep counts and whatnot?
I think for some guys it does. I think for others, I think they know that this might be the level in which I'm playing professional football, and I'm just going to take it at face value and kind of live the dream, play the game that all these guys love to play, even if it doesn't mean going to the next level. Obviously, I think everyone would love to have a call to advance to the NFL. But for some, I think they realize it either via play or their age or a bunch of factors. But I think the dream is still alive for some of these younger guys, and I think I tell them all the time, no matter what happens, your film is your resume, and NFL scouts or whoever's looking or watching to further your career, you want to put your best effort on tape at all times. And so we talk about that quite a bit, and the details matter. That's definitely one of the things that we're talking about now. And ultimately it's about, the effort that you put forward is a reflection of you. And so you don't want to put anything bad on tape.
Coach, for some of those guys who might be comfortable at the UFL level, is it also trying to kind of like reinvigorate them as far as like, hey, we obviously saw 16 teams to 8 teams. And not only that, you have the new 2024 class of guys who are all going to rookie minicamp right now. And a lot of these guys, the dream is kind of being, I don't want to say ending, but altered from the NFL to I need to go to the UFL. Or some of these older guys, maybe it's becoming a lot less comfortable for them as well, that they kind of have to, and I know they earn it every day, but now it's kind of the pressure's coming from twofold. It's not only from the 2024 class, but also the fact that there's 8 less opportunities now.
I think probably in the back of their minds are thinking about that. The good thing about this league is that these are players obviously that have come from college. They've been playing football for quite some time now. Some of them as young as maybe 8 or 9. And so, the competition at every level has always been there, even going through high school and college. Somebody coming in you're in college and they're recruiting the next greatest guy, and he happens to be at your position, and you got to wind up, trying to maintain your job or fight for play time. I think it just translates to this league as well. You're trying to make the squad, you're trying to stay on the field, you're trying to last in this league or push to the NFL. And so, I think they're used to the pressure of competition, and it reflects the guys that are comfortable with it. They're talking to their teammates, they're sharing information about how we can beat the team that we're facing this week. They're helping guys as reminders and communication. And so there's that team factor that you have to overcome the fact that you may not be where you want to be, but remember that you're part of a family and the Memphis Showboats team, and trying to, work to improve us and help us get the next win. And so these guys are doing a great job of that.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
James.
Coach, you talk about obviously 5'7" and 5'5". What do you think of number 2-1 as far as, especially with 5 being out right now? Is he kind of your spy? Like, are you guys always making a check towards him or anything like that? Just because of whether he's up in the box, coming from the edge, or playing that center field, it just seems like every week there's a highlight from him.
Right. I mean, there's definitely some areas where we'd like to get some matchups, Patrick, for sure. And that would be one of them at times. If we can get Daywood matched up on him, or Jonathan Adams matched up on him, would help us for sure. But, like I said, the biggest thing is when you got to have time to get it off. And that's where the concerns are right now for us is up front and helping our offensive line as much as we can.
a couple injuries this week. The injury report is pretty populated and whatnot. Any chance you can go like a heavy 12 personnel with maybe a tackle in as a tight end, especially on those pass sets for 5-7?
Yeah, and we've actually done quite a bit of that this year. With different guys. But we certainly will be using that again. That's our heavy package, and we've used it on the goal line and short yards quite a bit. We've used it on some play action pass things where we need to have a bigger presence at the tight end position, and you possibly could see a little bit more of that.
Obviously, Troy's on the injury report as well. Looked like a right hand injury. I think it says right fingers and whatnot. How's he progressing? And is there any possibility, especially with 3 weeks left, possibly giving Josh Love a little bit of opportunity?
Yeah, I think Troy's making progress. It's a day by day thing. It's really being able to grip the ball, as you know, with that fingers and thumbs and those type of things. It always comes down to the quarterback being able to grip the ball. Not only be able to throw it, but be able to hang on to it, make sure you don't fumble and those type of things too. So that's a day-by-day progress with him. Josh Love, you're exactly right. Possibly could see Josh here the last couple of games. Another guy with a lot of experience. I know Coach Flip has a lot of confidence in him. That's why he brought him in here. And he's learned the offense pretty quickly. And he's been around this style of offense before too. So he's adapted pretty quickly.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Like I said, a little bit of a populated injury report. Are you talking with the special teams coordinator a little bit about trying to limit reps because of how condensed the rosters are, and trying to keep guys fresh and whatnot? Because I think I counted 6 skill position guys on that injury report, and with a guy like Cyrus, athletic guy who plays a lot of special teams, if a couple of these receivers aren't ready to go, is that something we could possibly see him in the slot a little bit more and whatnot?
Yeah, Patrick, you're exactly right. That's a big area every week that comes up of, what guys are available for special teams and what guys do we need to protect a little bit. A guy like Vinny Papali, who's really taken a lot of reps on offense and, has been banged up a little bit himself this year. How do you take some reps off of him in special teams and who can go in that area? So, yeah, all those things are things that have to be discussed with Coach Dahl, our special teams coordinator. And then, yes, to answer your question, a guy like Cyrus is a guy that can play in the slot and do some other things. And we've been using him a lot in the passing game in our empty sets and getting him involved more as a slot receiver. Hopefully could come these last couple of games.
Coach, do you ever find yourself, maybe not at this level, but because of the condensed roster sizes, when at other levels, that you do kind of hide players, if that makes sense, where it's like, hey, we can put a guy out there who we know isn't going to get the ball, so maybe a guy like Jonathan could, take an extra blow or two if he's got a hamstring.
No, great point. Yeah, great point. You absolutely have to do those things. And in practice, you really got to monitor how many reps these guys take. And a guy like Jonathan that you mentioned is a guy you kind of protect from himself because he loves to practice. He loves to compete. And if you're not careful, he'll wear himself out in practice. And so you have to be able to use guys in different areas and different plays. Maybe a running play, some other receivers in just to give him a break. And so to answer your question, yes, we absolutely do that.
Moving forward, and final question from me. This might be a question more for Dennis, but obviously you never account for injuries, but they're going to happen. With roster construction, coming from your perspective, are you going to be looking for maybe there's a defensive back you like who maybe went to college starting off as a wide receiver just because of how condensed rosters are? And same thing on offensive and defensive line, because we even saw with the Battlehawks a couple weeks ago, they had their 2 reserve guys go down. And I mean, I was digging through their roster and they didn't really have anyone that, went to college as an O lineman that's now playing line. Is that something that maybe you guys are talking about a little bit as well?
Yeah, you talking about guys that can play both sides?
Pretty much, yeah. And not just Showboats, but you guys
right.
all live in.
Yeah, no, that hadn't really come up with us so much this year. I know in New Orleans last year, we had Jonathan Adams ready to play free safety at some times when we had some injuries down at the end of the year. So, if it got to that point of something, maybe the last game or two, certainly you could use some guys like that. I know they did before I got to New Orleans last year.
Well, thank you. you, Coach. Best of luck this weekend. Appreciate
Yep.
it.
Appreciate it, Patrick.
All right, James.